Okay, so lately I've been pretty lazy about staying on top of my practice. I try to every night, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's in the morning. Sometimes I don't run through the whole practice. And I'm trying to do a minimum practice, and I'm already noticing just by getting back to it that my dexterity is getting better. My soloing is getting faster again, and I've always been pretty slow because I just don't stick with the fingering practice that I should be doing. So I'm going to go over real quick what I do, and if you like this routine, maybe you can implement it in your playing too, and maybe do it for a couple of weeks. Maybe play to a metronome if you feel like you need to go to a metronome. I like to use a metronome. That way I can measure what I'm doing, and I can see the progress by using the metronome. You want to make sure if you are using a metronome that and even if you're not, go at a pace that you're getting clear tonation when you're picking. And I'm doing an alternate pick. I'm making sure to try and hold my shoulders up. That's a hard thing to pay attention to. It's easy to hunch over, be looking down. I tend to look down when I do these kind of things, and trying to keep a good posture is something that's not necessarily easy to remember to do while you're in the middle of doing your practice. One thing you can try if you find yourself hunching over is practice standing up some of these routines, because that'll force you to stand straight. You won't find yourself hunching over your guitar doing this while you're practicing if you're practicing standing up. So it's one thing to pay attention to. If you're finding yourself hunching over, try and remember to sit straight, but if you can't do it, practice standing up. I also recommend doing a lot of playing standing up. I do that for that purpose. It forces me to stand straight, forces me to play in a different posture than when I normally play sitting down. And I found that when I'm sitting down, you notice that I'm holding the guitar in this position as opposed to this position. I tend to, when I'm playing along, doing stuff, strumming along, like to be on this leg. But when you get up into these higher frets, it's a little bit harder to get your fingers all the way up to the top. And if you notice, when you're standing up and you're playing standing up, the guitar is more in front of you, and you find your neck has a tendency to be up a little higher than when you're playing sitting down. So reaching into these frets, these higher frets, is much easier if you're playing off of your left leg. So that's something to play around with too when you're doing your practicing. If you want to practice all the way up into the higher frets, is consider resting the guitar on your left leg as opposed to your right leg. It's more natural in position, and it's more natural to how you would be playing when you're standing up. So aside from those kind of positions, all these things matter obviously when you're practicing. You want to practice to what's more natural, and I try to I slow down a lot sometimes because I want to try and focus on not watching what I'm doing and try and see how far I can go before I make mistakes. And I've been playing a long time, but I'll be honest, I'm not as good as I should be because I don't put in the work that I should be putting in. And so these are the kind of things I've been trying to be more conscientious in doing. And especially since I started this YouTube channel, it's forced me to pay more attention to what I'm doing, and forcing me to get back into some of the things that I regressed in. So anyway, let's get into this. I still don't have my Studio One working, so I'm only going off of the sound of the camera, so it's not going to be as good an audio as I would prefer it to be, but it's still good enough to hear this kind of that's why I'm doing this kind of video. I know that a lot of you have seen and done this for years probably. It's like, oh, that routine again. But it's a good routine, but this is only one of the things. I got 3 different things. Actually, there's 4 different things I do, but I'll show you 3 of them. I do the typical chromatic thing here, making sure I alternate pick, slide down 1, I'll do it all the way up the neck, at least to the 12th fret. Sometimes I go all the way up to the 24th, and then I go all the way back. So that's a good one to do. Sometimes I'll do it slow, sometimes I'll do it fast, sometimes I'll push it as fast as I can go till I start buzzing strings and messing up. But I like to alternate my speed. I don't like to just go fast, and I don't like to just go slow. I'll go slow a little bit, I'll speed up, I'll slow down, I'll do things like that. That's also more natural too when you're playing in a solo situation. You're not always just shredding real fast, you're not always just playing slow. Sometimes you're doing a hammer-on, somebody's doing a slide, somebody's doing a long bend. So there's a tempo change when you're soloing as opposed to if you're playing rhythm. So I like to change up the speed. So sometimes I'll go more than once through it. Then the next thing I like to do, after I've messed around with that a little bit, maybe run up and down the neck a couple times. Also, when you're doing it, make sure you're keeping your thumb behind your hand like this. It helps to practice, stretching around and getting your fingers higher on the neck, as opposed to reaching over like this, because then your fingers have a tendency to fret out the notes, and you can't hear it. So it's good to keep your thumb in the right position. I used to play with my thumb in this position a lot, and I found that it was more comfortable. But since I focused in the last year or so on really focusing on thumb position, I find that it feels unnatural now to have my thumb on the other side. Sometimes it slides a little bit at an angle, but most of the time it's behind your hand, and it's good to have it that way. It's good position, then you can stretch your fingers farther apart. And I have small hands, small fingers, so I need all the help I can get. It's also okay when you're skipping frets. If you have to, you got small hands. Of course, you want to practice and do things right. Use the right fingers. Like when you're doing the other practice here, you want to use first finger, first fret, second finger, second fret, third finger, third fret, fourth finger, fourth fret, and so on, as your alternate picking. You don't want to just slide down or be trying to fudge it. You actually want to practice. That's why it's important to go slow if you have to. Practice using the right fingers in the right positions, and go slow if that's what you got to do. So I also like to do the pentatonic position, and I'll go slow so you can kind of see the fingering. So what you're doing is you're going open, third fret, open, third fret, open, second fret, open, second fret, open, or not open, sorry, first fret, third fret, open, third fret, and then reverse it. Third fret, open, third fret, first fret, second fret, open, second fret, open, third fret, open, third fret, open. Yeah. That's your C position in your pentatonic. Then you go third fret, middle finger for the A position. Repeated on the A string. So you're doing third and fifth. Repeated on the A string. Then you go to the second fret with your index finger. Pinky's still going to hit the fifth fret, but now you're on the D string. Same thing on the G string. Then you're back to the third and fifth fret for the B and the E. That's your A position. Then you got the G that everybody knows. The E position, this one's a little bit awkward. You play it a few times and then it starts to feel natural, but at first it feels unnatural. You start with your middle finger, and you're going to start on the 8th fret, which is your C note. So you're going to skip one and you go C, you're 8 and 10. Then you're going to go 7 and 10, 7 and 10. Then you're going to go 7 and 9. Then you're going to go 8 and 10, 8 and 10. and that's the E position for the pentatonic. And then you skip down to the 10th fret for the D position. Now you notice I'm doing the caged position, and the C, the A, the G, the E. Now we're into the D position, which is the first 3 strings. You're going to go with the 10th and 12th fret. When you get down to the G string, it's going to be the 9 and 12th fret. The B string is going to be the 10 and 13th fret. And then you're back to the 10 and 12th fret for the bottom E string. So it's like this. And then the movable C, instead of doing open, you'll do the 12th fret at the, so this is the last one. So you're going to go 12th fret, then you go, let's see. Yeah, 12th fret and 15th fret twice. Then 12 and 14, 12 and 14, 13, 15, 12, 15, and then reverse it. 15, 12, 15, 13, 15, oh, sorry. Yeah, so it's 15, 12, 15, 13, then it's 14, 12, 14, 12, 15, 12, 15, 12. So you go through all the pentatonics all the way back to the C. Start with the C, end with the C position. So you play all the way through that caged position, all the way forward, all the way back. And for your game, the third thing I like to do is I do it in diatonic also, so using all 7 notes instead of 5 notes of the scale. So in that case, the C position would have the open string, then you would have your index finger hitting the E string on the 1st fret, and then the 3rd fret. Then the next 2 strings, it's gonna, instead of being the 1st fret, it's gonna be the 2nd and 3rd frets. Then open and 2nd fret. Then the B and the E is open 1, 3. And I'm not going to bore you with all that. You can look up the diatonic scale, but basically what I do is I do the staccato way of running up and down the neck, move each, all the way up, move up 1, go back up, move up 1, go down, and so on, all the way up, all the way back. Then I do the pentatonic scales all the way up, all the way back. Then I do the diatonic scales all the way up, all the way back. And some days I find I can do it really fast. Some days I still mess up, but I find that it's really improving because, like I said, I'm a lazy practicer, but this is something that I've been doing for the last week or so, and I can't believe how much I've gained just in doing it in a week. And like I said, I've been playing since 1994, and I should be much better than I am, but I've been, like I said, I'm a lazy practicer. I like to play songs. I come in and I just start strumming along, playing different riffs, different pieces of solos and things like that, but never really putting things together, and periodically doing scales and things like that, but never really having a strong practice routine. And I recommend a strong practice routine because even for myself, and I see a lot of other guitarists talking about it, how much improvement you'll make if you do this on a regular basis. So I am making a point to at least run through those 3 things every day, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes before bed. I don't want to sometimes, but I do it anyway. Pick it up, just run through it real quick. Sometimes I might do it for a while. And then I can do some of the other things, practice some different riffs, practice solos and things like that, or just practice some rhythm stuff. Lately I've been trying to practice rhythm stuff and get better at coming up with different rhythms that, you know, are harder. So there you go. I do have a fourth routine that I do, but that's just kind of my own thing. It's nothing that's worth teaching. It's just a different pattern. It's following different scales, but it's following a different pattern all the way up the neck. It's not using the whole scale. But I hope you find that useful, and pick up your guitar, give it a try. Maybe dedicate a week, dedicate 2 weeks, maybe a month, and put on the metronome. You could always use Google for a metronome. You can get it on your phone or on your computer. They have metronomes there. You can just say metronome and it'll come up. So find a speed that's comfortable, that you can do each of the routines, and stick to it. Make sure you're using the right fingers. Even on the scales, use the right fingers. If you find yourself messing up, slow it down. There's no rush. You only improve by finding out where what your limits are. Find your limit and back off a little bit. Get comfortable with what you're doing, and then pick it up and improve yourself every day. And you'll be surprised how far you come along in such a short time if you take the time every single day. But that's all I got for you today. Hopefully I can start making better videos, get my Studio One working. If not, I'm going to have to use a different digital audio workstation. I do have a video of what's going on. If you're curious what I'm talking about, there is a video posted about that. I've been having a problem for a week, so I've been able to post the kind of videos I want to post. So hopefully the audio quality on this isn't so bad. Like I said, it's just the camera that's picking up the audio right now, because my workstation is not able to open up. So if I have to, I will purchase another audio workstation and start making a higher quality as far as the audio goes. So that's all I got for you now. I'll see you on the next one, and you guys have yourself a good weekend. Take care.